Hey guys, it's Destiny, and recently we had our 2.1 live stream, and I thought I'd go over Acheron and things to consider when it comes to her kit, as well as team building with Acheron, and just some thoughts on her value so far. Before we do get into that though, let me know in the comments down below a game you've been enjoying recently, or recommend for anyone to try out. I've really been enjoying Persona 3 Reload, and I really started grinding the game more during my spring break last week since I had the free time. I've been having such a good time with this game. Lastly, if you do enjoy videos like these, do make sure to subscribe and also hit the like button. Now, let's get straight into it. To start, let's go over Acheron's kit to get an idea of what she'll want when it comes to team comps. Acheron is a Lightning Nihility character and will be the first banner of version 2.1, and she is very different than our usual characters when it comes to her kit. Acheron will be able to use her ultimate without actually using energy. She relies on /dream stacks in order to get her ultimate, and the way she gets stacks is through her skill and debuffs. Her ultimate requires 9 stacks in order to be used, and her ultimate is going to be a huge source of her power. It was revealed on Hoyoverse's website as well regarding her skill kit that her ultimate can also ignore enemy weakness types, which is something that Shui is able to do with her ultimate, and Acheron will be able to reduce enemy type resistance, which basically makes her a huge powerhouse of a character since her ultimate is also 4 slashes so far from what we've seen. 3 of them you can control on which targets are hit, and the final slash appears to hit all enemies. So this ultimate definitely will bring a lot of power overall to Acheron's kit. Because of what we know about her ultimate though, the goal will definitely be to get the ultimate as fast as possible when making a team with Acheron. Her skill will give a stack, which means you'll be able to benefit from her skill in order to get closer to the 9 stacks necessary to use her ultimate. Allies can also grant Acheron a /stream stack each time they inflict a debuff onto an enemy. This makes the Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat light cone very valuable to place on a team member to ensure that the attacks will be able to grant Acheron a stack. Acheron can also get a stack even when enemies inflict debuffs onto themselves. So let's say an enemy just randomly explodes, you defeat it, whatever it may be, and inflicts a debuff onto adjacent enemies. Acheron can get a stack from this. Any form of debuff will count as well for Acheron's stacks. Weakness breaking an enemy counts as a debuff, which will grant a stack. Damage over time, such as shock, burn, bleed, wind shear, and so on. And essentially any debuff will grant a single stack from what we know so far. Acheron will highly benefit from Nihility allies as a result because of how she gets the stacks for her ultimate, but some other noteworthy characters and just general character paths will be pretty beneficial for Acheron as well. She definitely will need allies though to assist with her getting the necessary debuffs, otherwise it will take quite a long time to get those necessary stacks for her ultimate. And this is just of course based on what we know about her so far, but now that we've gone over the basics of Acheron's kit, let's go over some team synergies. When it comes to team building with Acheron, the basic concept will be her alongside Nihility characters and a sustain, or even pseudo/no sustain on some of your teams. There are quite a few character synergies I recommend with Acheron, so I'll go over my recommendations and also create some team comps based on these recommendations. One option can be Black Swan. Black Swan is able to inflict consistent Arcana, which is her own form of damage over time, and also defense drops onto enemies with her skill kit. Acheron will be able to gain stacks from the debuffs Black Swan can inflict and highly benefit from the defense drops on enemies to deal more damage. Also, not gonna lie, after seeing that teaser for Acheron's trailer during the livestream, I kinda just have to put them on a team together now. This is also a premium option, but if you have E1 Black Swan, now Acheron will be able to benefit even more, especially if you decide to do the Dami Mommy team of Acheron, Kafka, and Black Swan. This team will be an absolute powerhouse of a combination because all of these team members will be able to inflict high amounts of damage onto enemies. Kafka and Black Swan, as we know, are really good together. They can also assist Acheron with getting her stacks, and this is one of the more premium team options. If you don't have Kafka though, you can use one of the other damage over time users alongside Black Swan and Acheron. This can be Sampo, Gunnifin, or Luca. I would primarily go with whatever the enemy is honestly weak to so you could take advantage of that, but Sampo will be able to inflict consistent wind shear, Gunnifin can inflict her burns, and Luca can of course inflict bleed. Plus, that Resolution Shines a Pearls of Sweat light cone will make it easier for any of your Nihility characters to consistently inflict debuffs. When it comes to our damage over time characters, they'll definitely be very nice with Acheron, and for a sustain for damage over time centric teams with Acheron, I'd recommend using a preservation class character and have them hold Trend of the Universal Market. This can work on any Acheron comp, but is even stronger on a damage over time centric team, since this light cone will allow for a chance for the user holding the light cone to inflict burn onto an enemy when they are hit. So just for an example of how good this light cone can be, let's say there's a wave of 5 enemies and they all hit the character using the market light cone. Acheron will be able to get 5 stacks without any team member having to attack at all. This light cone is probably buried very deep in your inventory, but I'm not gonna lie, it's time to dust it off and look at our preservation class characters. Depart, Fushun, March 7th, Fire MC, and even our upcoming Adventurine will all be good sustain options with their own benefits. Depart is able to freeze enemies with this skill, which is also considered a debuff. March 7th can freeze with her ultimate, as well as increase the chances of getting hit with her skill. Fushun will be able to provide crit rate to the team, and this is very beneficial for Acheron, as she'll want high crit rate and crit damage, similar to our other DPS characters such as Don Hong Zila, Jingyuin, and so on. Fire MC can also increase the likelihood they get hit through their taunt, which can be great for getting stacks with the market light cone. As for non-damage overtime centric teams with Acheron, great Nihility options can be Pela and Silverwolf. Pela is able to inflict a nice defense drop with her ultimate, and she can also lower enemies' ice resistance if she is E4. If you intend to use Pela, I would 100% use the Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat light cone on her, so that her basic attacks can allow Acheron to gain stacks, and this also allows Pela to be way more skill point efficient when it comes to getting stacks for Acheron. Silverwolf is able to inflict debuffs with her basic attack skill and ultimate, so she'll definitely be able to get Acheron very consistent stacks because of the consistency of when she inflicts her debuffs. While Acheron's ultimate does ignore weakness type, Silverwolf can implant lightning weakness onto enemies, and this can reduce the resistance even further, and Silverwolf can also massively reduce an enemy's defense. This can boost Acheron's overall damage even further. When it comes to using Pela or Silverwolf on an Acheron team, it'll be pretty flexible. You can use them together for a huge amount of defense debuffs onto enemies, or if you don't have Silverwolf, I would use one of the remaining 4-star Nihility characters alongside Pela. What's even nicer is that Pela will also be on Acheron's banner. This makes it easier for people to get her who do not have her just yet. This is really good as well for our new players who may have just come in from 2.0. They might not have a Pela, so this makes it way easier. As for sustains, we already mentioned using preservation class characters with the market light cone, but you can also do no sustain with a strong buffer such as Ruan Mei, or you could do a pseudo sustain. This will be our last Nihility character, Welt. If you use Welt, you can get away with using Acheron with 2 Nihility characters and a Harmony character way easier. Welt is going to be able to delay enemies and also slow them down, and can debuff enemies as a result, which allows Acheron to get her stacks that way too. If you decide to use Ruan Mei and Welt alongside Acheron and any other Nihility character, you can create a very strong delay team, where the enemy will struggle to get their turn back, which can definitely help with the team's survivability. You do not need Ruan Mei, by the way, to use pseudo sustain Welt, but this makes it way more fun with how much you could delay enemies. Some notable mentions though can be Asta. She can burn enemies with her basic attack, and since Asta can speed up the team with her ultimate, which is even stronger with Dance Dance Dance, she can also increase the attack of the team, and she can also work really good as a pseudo sustain as well depending on your team comp. Asta works great with damage over time characters, so this can make for a powerhouse team. Himeko and Hook can also inflict burn, which is considered a debuff. Not too sure how smoothly they would fit onto teams though in comparison to the other characters I've mentioned, but they can also inflict burn. Another option can be using Gallagher as a sustain for one of your team comps, since it was shown in the live stream that his ultimate can debuff enemies. This could be pretty nice for getting additional stacks for Acheron. I personally prefer the idea though of using a preservation class character with the market light cone, since if you can get a good amount of stacks, especially if your sustain gets hit a good amount, so I'm personally more of a fan of this overall when it comes to using a sustain. When it comes to team building with Acheron though, I would gauge which Nihility characters you have built, and it should be pretty smooth creating a Nihility centric team comp with Acheron, as she can essentially work in some way with all of our Nihility options. One thing I'd like to mention though when it comes to team comps with Acheron is that I'd recommend if you go attack boots Acheron to make your teammates on the faster side so that they can get her a good amount of stacks. Attack boots can also allow for her damage output to be higher. For those going speed boots though, this can allow Acheron to go more and get her stacks as well to use her skill damage more often. So both options are pretty beneficial and can be pretty viable overall. When it comes to Acheron's value as a character though, I do believe she can have some pretty nice team comps, and with the accessibility of 4-star Nihility options as well as potentially having some of the 5-star Nihility characters, there are multiple team combinations that someone can make with Acheron. Sustain options are pretty versatile with Acheron, and some options can further help her ultimate stacks, which will make it smoother to get her ultimate. Personally, I am a huge fan of what we've seen so far from Acheron. When it comes to a meta perspective, I can see her being a contender for one of the best DPS characters in the game, and it is pretty cool that we're getting a character with different kit functions than what we normally get, like how she gets stacks from debuffs inflicted onto enemies, no energy involvement as well for her skill kit. I think that's pretty cool and pretty fun. It makes things like the energy regeneration rope not really valuable at all on her, so it's a different approach to some of our DPS characters or how to look at a DPS character overall. Plus, she's about to make farming overworld enemies pretty quick with her technique, since her technique literally murders enemies on the map. So this will just make, if you guys do that daily farm or you plan to farm at all, this will just make it so much faster. So there's also that benefit as well. That'll be all from me though when it comes to team concepts with Acheron. I will definitely be showcasing Acheron once she does release, and also giving you guys my full thoughts on her value once she is here. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I will also be releasing a Gallagher video this week for you guys who are very excited for Gallagher. Gallagher looks pretty cool, so why not make one for you guys? Do let me know though if you guys are excited for Acheron, and lastly, if you did enjoy, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support the video, and I hope you all have a great one like always. Peace.